arrive at your destination.
Oi, oi, oi. Hola. Hello. I got scared. We literally had a guy holding on to our van the whole time. Holy crap!
They are a widely hated population, with an estimate of 2 to 20 million people worldwide. Nobody knows for certain. A lot of them don't even register officially as this ethnicity in fear of discrimination. Who are they? And what happened in that neighborhood in Slovakia? As sometimes we also felt like traveling nomads, going through Eastern Europe towards Japan in our yellow wagon. I decided to dig deeper on Romani people. If I say gypsy or Roma, this is what you probably see in your heads. But where did these nomads actually come from? The name gypsy comes from the fact that they were thought to come from Egypt, but that is far from the truth. Also, Romani people does not mean Romanian, although there is a big population of Roma people in Romania, also in the Balkans, Southern Europe and the Americas. Clearly standing out, but not from any of the European countries. Genetic and linguistic evidence actually suggests that these people came from northern India, arriving to Europe in the 12th to 14th century. But there is no written evidence for it. Romani language has roots in Hindu languages, but it has got more complex with every new region they move to and every new language they mix with, creating numerous dialects. So how were they persecuted and why so hated? The darker-skinned Romanis stood out during the medieval Europe as clearly being immigrants, and widespread slavery also included Roma people. Another reason for persecution was that they were thought to be carrying all sorts of diseases. Many countries tried forced assimilation, slavery, and taking away their identity with schools, but none of these measures worked to integrate Roma people. Centuries passed, and during World War II it got even worse, because the camps and executions that were used on Jews also included Romas, and the estimates say about 1 million killed. But why so hated still if now we tolerate different? Let's go back to the Slovakian neighborhood called Lunik 9, the biggest Roma ghetto in Europe, located in Košice, Slovakia. And accidentally driving through it was a scary experience. Right away, the big Soviet-built apartment blocks started to look different. And seconds later, 20 to 30 kids started to run towards our van, asking for money and pounding on the doors, trying to open them. At that moment, I panicked, because I realized that our side door was still open. Trying to get out of there, we sped up, but still were hearing pounding, but seeing no one inside or outside. Again pounding, and then we realized that one of the teenagers had latched onto our car and was trying to get off. We let him off. He smiled and waved. A cheap lesson for us to be a little more careful next time of where we drive. Lunik 9 paints the picture of why it is a problem for every government who tries to tackle it. Built in 1979 as a regular Soviet neighborhood for everybody, but turned into a ghetto as non-Romani people slowly moved out and Roma people taking the apartments unlawfully, turning the place into a slum where utilities were turned off because of unpaid bills and the utilities infrastructure sold for scrap by the residents themselves. Now estimated 7,000 people live there in the apartments that were meant for 2,500 only. Unemployment rate of 97+%, low health standards, widespread disease and substance abuse, even amongst children. The bus drivers who drive through this neighborhood receive a hazard pay because of the crime and potential violence. But why does this cycle repeat itself over and over again? Why it stays like this is the average lower education level and less professional skills among the Roma people, which makes it hard to get, compete for and retain jobs. Also the historic background that Roma people were not land or house owners, which decreases their opportunities for legal available housing now, especially during economic crisis. Larger families, lower health status with addictions and living off social benefits makes it harder to break out of this cycle now. Overrepresentation amongst the poorest in Europe maybe isn't the fault of one individual and their choices, but a system that keeps on repeating itself because of historic, racial and social reasons. What can the governments do? Thank you friends for watching. This was the story of Roma people and the ghetto in Slovakia. See you next week.